Hello everyone and welcome to this hangout on Quizizz. So you can make quizzes for the classroom using this site. I'm going to take you through sort of the teacher view and how you actually create your own quiz, and then I'm going to take you through the student view so you can see how a student interacts with the quiz. It's a really interactive, competitive quiz style. I like it a lot, and my students do as well. They've responded really well to this. So I've used some other quiz sites. I think this one is definitely my preferred one. So when you create your account and log in, you can see the button at the top, create your own quiz. You can also search for quizzes, so you can see other quizzes that people have made and made public. What I would say, obviously, is just that they might not all be completely suitable. And sometimes there are errors in them, so that can be a bit problematic, but they are great for lesson starters if you just want to do something for fun rather than related necessarily to your subject. So at the top, you can click create your own quiz. So that will then open up the screen. So I'm going to name my quiz and I'm just going to call it Tech Tools. So I am going to make it public. Obviously you can choose to make it private if you want to, and I could add a cover image if I wanted. So if you click on add cover image, that'll obviously open up a box so that you can select an image, but I'm going to choose not to do that. Cancel that. Okay, so now that I've set my title, it takes me through to the question screen. So here you can see that I've got a question box at the top, and I've then got my options underneath. So in my question box, I can say, what's the greatest tool? So that's my question. You can obviously change the colour if you wanted of any aspect. So you can do all of that underneath. You could upload an image, so that obviously works really well for kind of identifying objects or aspects of a topic, characters in a book, for instance, or parts of the body. So it works for pretty much any subject, and you can add in a time limit as well, which I think is really important. 30 seconds is quite a long time unless you're giving them a really difficult problem to solve. So I will usually go for about 10 seconds, and then sometimes I have a few token 5-second ones at the end, just to kind of really challenge them and get them to think on their feet quite quickly, which obviously for my students sitting in exam, that's really important. So I will sometimes reduce that even lower. So I'm going to set 10 seconds for that one, and I'm going to put 3 options in here. So obviously you need at least 2 options. You've then got 3 and 4 as optional. So I'm just going to add a couple more in here. I can't think of the 4th one. I don't think this one actually exists, so I'll make it up. That works. So you can then identify which of your answers is the correct one. Once you've done that, obviously your question is complete. You can either click finish, or you can start to create a new question. So you can see that down there on the bottom left. What I could do is, if I didn't like that question and I wanted to start again, I could bin it and start again, but I'm going to add a new question. So what tool I used for this? So we're just going to have 2 options this time. So we're just going to have Skype. Now, what I've noticed with that one is that I've written the first answer first again. So what I'm just going to do is change that up so that correct answer is not at the top. Okay, so it's actually Google Hangout is the correct answer there. So I'm just going to leave it as 2 questions just so that we can practice with it. And we're just going to click finish in the top right hand corner. So what this will do is, because I said before that I was quite happy for it to go public, then it's now asking me for a category. So I'm just going to put it under professional development, which is not really, because it's not a fantastic quiz, but and it is American, so some of the categories are quite difficult to choose from. So I'm just going to pick high school because that's closest. I'm going to go finish and create quiz. So it takes a really short amount of time to do that. Okay, so what you can see underneath is that you can share the link via lots of media tools. So if you use Twitter, Google Plus or Facebook with your students, then those are some really quick ways of doing it. You can also just share the link. So if you use something like Moodle or another VLE, then you could share the link on there. So what I'm going to do now is, because I'm in class, we're imagining, and I'm ready to play, we're just going to click play game now. Now, on the options here, you've got lots of different options to choose from. So you've got an option of jumbling the questions, which you might want to do if you didn't want them in a particular order. So maybe it's a quiz that they've done before and you're letting them have another go, but you don't want them to completely go with it as though it's the same quiz they've done before. Now, you can show the leader, you could choose to show the leaderboard to the students on their devices or not. So that's something that you can turn on or off depending. You can choose to show questions and answers in the end. I am going to have that on because I want to give them immediate feedback about how they've done. You could turn that off if you wanted to go away and kind of digest their answers a little bit more and to not give them an immediate response. But I think most of the time it's better if it's immediate feedback in a situation like this. You can put on the question timer so students would get more points for faster answers. Now, you might not be interested in how quickly they do it, so that could be something that you can turn off. Now, what is set is that it shows funny pictures after each question. That can actually be quite distracting. It can be quite fun depending on the kind of quiz you've got, but I'm going to turn that off for this quiz. So I'm just going to click proceed at the top. And what that will now do is generate the opening for the quiz. Now, basically what you've got along the top here is that students need to type in join.quizizz.com, and that will take them to a website where they can join in the quiz themselves, and the code is there as 48124. So as soon as they go onto the website, then they can join the quiz, and you can see there that James Kieft has joined. I'm also going to join over here, so you can see, let me just reshare my screen so that you can see the student side at this point. So what you can see at the moment is obviously the teacher screen where they're able to see how many students have joined. Okay, so now you can see the student screen. So I'm just going to type in my code. That's 48124. And you can see it's quite a clean screen, so it works really well on their devices. And I'm just going to enter my name. Obviously, be careful for students typing in nicknames. It tends to be what they do. And it will automatically generate an avatar for me, so you can see that I've now joined the game. So what I now need to do is return to the teacher screen. So as soon as you're in the classroom and everyone has joined, I'm just going to turn my volume down. So as soon as everyone in the classroom is joined, then you can obviously start the game. So I'm just going to share my teacher screen so that you can see how to do that. So it's really straightforward. I can see that I've got my 2 students in the classroom who have joined. And I'm just going to click on start game now. Okay, so it's a countdown to starting. So I'm just going to share the student view so you can see what that looks like for me. I've shared the teacher screen again, so let me take it back onto there. Okay, so I've got that going. And you can see along the top that that snake is counting down, telling me how long I've got left to answer. So I'm just going to click on what I think is the correct answer. And you can see that I've got points there, and you can see that I've got rank 1 above where James is at the moment. The greatest quiz tool, I'm going to go for Kahoot just to show you what happens if you get it wrong. So you can get a 0, and obviously James has beaten me because he's done a quicker answer and got it correct. So what you can then see as a student is that you can share your point score via social media. So if you wanted them all to do that, then you could do. You can also choose to exit and play another game. So if you wanted them to kind of enter a different quiz, then they could also do that. Because I allowed the answers to appear, then you can see underneath which ones I've got correct and which ones I haven't, which means that you could then pair students up depending on which ones they got right or wrong, just to see kind of to learn from one another, really. So I'm just going to screen share the teacher's screen again. So this is what it will look like from the teacher's perspective. Now, one thing that I will usually do during the game is to show this screen in class so that the students can see how they're all getting on. Sometimes I will choose not to, if it's maybe more of an important test, or actually I don't want them to see one another's scores because it's not appropriate. But what this will do is give me an indication of how to pair students up. Now, obviously, with 2 students, it's a little bit difficult because we both got the first one wrong and we both got the second one right. So it will be difficult to do that at that point. But hopefully, if you've got lots of students in your class, that should work. Now, if you click on Save Data, what that's then going to do is give you an option to save that information. Now, with this particular game, that's not overly useful because I've only got 2 students, but obviously with a normal class you'd have quite a lot. So it downloads it as a spreadsheet, which I'm just going to open up, so it'll show you what it looks like. I'm just going to see where that's opened. So while that's opening, one other thing that I just wanted to mention was, obviously you may have heard the music coming on during that game. Now, one of the main issues with the game sometimes is that the students therefore have their sound up on their phone, which means that you get that sound coming at you from all angles. So it's worthwhile making them turn their sound off before playing the game. So that'll give you a little bit of peace and quiet while the game is played. Okay, so you can see the spreadsheet here and how that is collated. So you can see sort of the students and then obviously what they got right and wrong, what their answers were, and then also obviously their score, so you can see how quick they were at that. Obviously, if there were more students, they'd appear all along there and you could kind of pull a comparison. I think it is a really good tool just for running quizzes that you want to run time and time again, particularly for revision, and I think it works especially well for exams. So I think that's a great thing to use. So you can store those Excel spreadsheets in a folder potentially, and just sort of track their progress over time. So I'm just going to take you back into the teacher view. Okay, so you can now see the teacher view again. I'm just going to click back to home so that you can just see what a normal login screen looks like. Now, if I wanted to play that game again, it is quite easy to do that. If you click on My Quizzes at the top, it will then come up with the quizzes that are in your category. So I can choose to launch that one again. And when I'm in class, I can click on the quiz and then click Play Live. So you go into My Quizzes, select from your quiz, and then click Play Live. Now you can also now be something that you, and then if you click Proceed, so I've got a very short deadline of doing it by 5:30, and what you would do is give this information to the students, which means that they can log in at home and complete the assignment in their own time. So it's really great for flipped learning. So if you've given them something to read or a video to watch, you can also send them the Quizizz details so that they can complete that in their own time at home. So I've got my quizzes all in one place. I can create at the top there, but I can also click into my reports. So you can see all of the reports on there. I can choose to bin them, download them, or view them. So you can see all of those appearing. Okay, so that is Quizizz. Really competitive in class, as you can see from sort of what the leaderboard does. It's really interactive, easy for the students to use. So the colours are great just for kind of identifying different options on the screen. I guess one of the drawbacks is that you can only do multiple choice questions via it. So you just have to be really careful about what kind of quizzes you use it for and when you can use it. And I think the recent addition of being able to set it for homework is absolutely fun for flipped learning. So thank you very much for joining me today, and I hope you enjoy using Quizizz.